Hi, I'm Apurva. I lead content at Shine. I welcome you all to the third episode of our Welcome LGBTQ Plus at Work campaign. The primary objective of this campaign is to highlight and share stories of organizations that have taken significant steps to promote inclusivity in the workplace. By showcasing these stories, we aim to inspire other organizations to take similar actions and promote a more inclusive environment overall. In today's episode, we are excited to welcome Shweta Verma, the India and Asia Pacific Inclusion and Diversity Leader at PwC. With 23 years in human capital across diverse industries, Shweta has been with PwC since March 2004. Her 19 plus years there have been remarkable, starting as a business HC partner for the tax line of service, moving to human capital transformation leader for India, and now leading inclusion and diversity. We welcome you, Shweta.
Thank you so much.
Let me first start asking you, how do you ensure that your workplace culture is inclusive and welcoming to LGBTQ plus employees?
So at PwC, inclusive culture forms the foundation of whatever we do in the inclusion and diversity space. And what we strive for is creating a culture and a working environment where everyone feels valued and with their differences, feels respected. And we ensure that there is a sense of belonging that we are able to create within teams. This doesn't just happen. I mean, these are just words and this can't just happen by itself. So what we have really do is our inclusion lens and the diversity lens acts as a drone across the employee life cycle. So we have embedded the lens and the diversity aspect in every stage of our talent life cycle, whether we are hiring, onboarding, performance management, development programs, exposure that we give for various projects. All of this, for everything that we do, we've ensured that there is a diversity lens. But that also doesn't come easy. While there are processes that have been put in place, there are policies that we have built for various employees that are diverse employees particularly. But what we need to do is that we need to ensure that there is an inclusive mindset. And how do we ensure that there is an inclusive mindset is by in continuous education, by ensuring we host conscious inclusion workshops, we make people accountable. The first and foremost I'd like to say is also that there is a huge and a very strong leadership tone at the top that we have for the inclusion and diversity agenda. Our chairperson, Mr. Sanjeev Krishan, is the executive sponsor of the inclusion and diversity agenda, and therefore his voice kind of puts in the force behind whatever we do. When we talk of LGBTQ employees, I think our journey is not a very mature journey when it comes to inclusion of LGBTQ plus employees. And I don't think so that's because of where we are in our journey, but I think it's because of the country that we are in. I think as India as a territory has to kind of mature and be more open and accepting to the LGBTQ employees. For various efforts that we have taken to ensure that we value our people who are coming from the LGBTQ community, we create an ecosystem where they do not face any discriminations, or the efforts have been towards making sure that all our policies are inclusive to include LGBTQ employees. We have Shine Network. Our Shine is a brand that we globally use for LGBTQ inclusion. So we have an allied group plus the community group called the Shine Network. So we have a very robust and a very engaged group that kind of comes up and suggests what we do and how do we make the culture inclusive. We train the hiring managers, we train the people managers to say that what kind of language you should be using. We host key events. We talk about all the inclusion activities for various diverse employees in all our communication. We celebrate Pride Month. We celebrate discrimination of Section 377. We have a strong equal employment opportunity policy. And we want to ensure that there is non-discrimination. So therefore, there is an anti-discrimination policy as well, so that there is people from every community, from various diverse workforce feel included and respected in whatever space that they operate in. So that's how we make sure that our LGBTQ employees feel safe and feel welcomed and supported within the organization. Of course, there are many I think all the policies that we have, I want to say that there is no one size fits all.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say that while we've been on this journey for the last 2 years or so, 3 years or so, but there is a long way to cover. And I think we are taking baby steps
Yeah.
to make sure that every aspect of what we do, we include everybody, we include the unique needs of everybody. But I guess it's a journey that we have to kind of make sure we keep moving on further.
I completely agree with you. There's a long way to go but the most important part is that we have started taking baby steps. You talked
Yes.
about sense of belongingness, you talked about how being an ally is important. So the very next question is, how do you encourage allyship among non-LGBTQ plus employees?
So, Apurva, as I said, that the first and the foremost is that we speak a lot, right? We make sure that we bake LGBTQ inclusion in every communication that goes on from my side, from our leaders, from our business leaders, from our HC human capital leader. We speak about it in every forum. We speak about it in our mails, and in every email that we have. My signatures carry my pronouns. My signature also carries a link for everybody to join the ally group. So we socialize and communicate a lot about what we kind of optically want to be seen. And yet, I believe that when people become a part of the community, that's their experiences really matter, and experiences keep the agenda moving in a positive direction. So we do the right things to make sure that there is visibility to the agenda, there is leadership tone to the agenda, and that's how we encourage people to join and be a part of the journey. The other aspect is that we have trainings, we have allyship trainings, we have communication that speak about what is your role as a bystander. How do you play that role? And there is, in this year, this is going to be a key focus area for us, that bystander, how do you behave as a bystander and what is your role? So we are taking this to the next level to say that we believe that you are all allies. But what is, as a bystander and an ally, what's your role that you can play?
Yeah.
So that we elevate your role and we say that, you have a role to play as well. I cannot, as an inclusion and diversity leader, do everything.
Yeah.
So there are things that we display to promote allyship. There are events that we host in offices to make sure that people are part of those celebrations during Pride months, during inclusion weeks that we host. We have our rainbow lanyards, we have rainbow profiles for internal communication. We have allyship badges that people can give to each other to show their support. So there are those actionable, small actions, I think, create a lot of difference as well. The other aspect is that we share stories. We've encouraged our LGBTQ employees to come out and share their stories. And I'm very glad to see that it's been very heartwarming for our employees to share their story. And we've provided them a platform and once that happens, I think there is a lot of, there's a lot of allyship and a community that gets created. There's a following that happens that, I want to be a part of this person's journey. I want to kind of make sure that the person has a career. And ultimately, I think as an organization, what we really want is that we want each and every individual to be able to perform to their best potential.
Yeah.
And that can only come when they really have a great team to work with. They thrive in the positive environment. There is psychological safety for them. They feel that they are being valued not for their identity, but just for their competencies and skills and seen as a professional in the organization, which is what we want to achieve. So
Shweta, I am also an employee. Employees, organizations are like communities. So I felt really good, when you mentioned that, you celebrate Pride Month and you give allyship badges and rainbow colors all over, at PwC. Hats off to PwC and to you. The very next question I would want to ask, there should be a certain feedback mechanism. So how do you gather feedback from LGBTQ plus employees about their experiences in your workplace?
See, Apurva, I think I'm going to be very honest. We get feedback from various sources, and there are established manners to seek feedback, and yet there are various what should I say, unstructured way that we get feedback, right? So there is a structure around this, there's a process around this, and there are, of course, unstructured communications as well. But we have various forums and various mechanisms. The first and foremost is that we have an annual survey which is called the Global People Survey, where a few years back when we were embarking on our LGBTQ plus journey, inclusion journey, we made sure that we add this demographic. And what I necessarily mean is that when people, and this is an anonymous survey, this happens across the PwC network in worldwide, and of course across India, and there people are encouraged to take this survey. Everybody fills in their, and it's all anonymous, so everybody fills in, and it's a good set of more than 30 questions across various spectrums of work environment. So every individual fills in their identity. And a few years back, we added the LGBTQ as a demographic.
Wow.
So we have seen that people do select themselves as being part of that community, and that kind of gives us a full reporting on how our people from the LGBTQ community feel about their engagement and in the organization, about their experience with their leaders, experience in working in the workplace, all of those. And there is a big report which is not only, it's not just not a report actually. The report is analyzed very thoroughly, and there are action plans that are prepared, and this receives sanction and sponsorship from none other than our India leadership team. So they review the results, and the plans that emerge out of this survey are baked in each of our accountability frameworks that we have. So that survey is taken very, very seriously. Also, we have informal and setups, like we have focus group discussions, like the Shine network that we have meets periodically, and that's a forum where people who are members, who are part of that, and allies who are part of that are able to express. We have other options as well. We have a speak up culture, and we have various lines that are open that anybody can call. It's like a phone call that you can make, it's a mail that you can write, that this has been my experience. Good and bad, both are welcome. Another forum that we have is Conversations That Matter. And leaders like us open slots in our calendar, and anybody in the country can fill, it's visible to everybody around the country. So if I open my slots for 6 months, they get filled up immediately because people block the calendar, and these could be anybody. So I speak to a lot of women, people from LGBTQ community, persons from the disability community. So I think there is a lot of engagement and communications that happens. We also have focus groups. I think there are various ways that we have feedback mechanism, both formal, structured, and informal and unstructured. But we do get a sense and a pulse with all of this. Some of this is via quantitative measures in terms of survey results, and the qualitative comments that come in the results, as well as conversations. So there's an established way to kind of seek feedback.
I really, there's one thing that stood out for me when you mentioned that you have given, identity to LGBTQ plus community in your surveys. People are fighting for this, to get the identity somewhere. So hats off to you, Shweta, for that. So when you started it out, because you just maybe a few years back, you started this inclusion. So were there any sort of challenges that you faced in fostering an inclusive environment for LGBTQ plus employees?
So I certainly, I think there is a huge resistance to change. There was a resistance to change. There is a resistance to change. I'm not going to say that, everything is hunky-dory, we are just at the top, things work seamlessly. No. It's an everyday ask, it's an everyday literally hammering of, and not only about LGBTQ inclusion, but I guess this is something that needs reiteration, reinforcement every day. I must let you know that the very fact, if you look around in the organization now, you would find a lot of inclusion and diversity leaders as a leadership position that is created, right? But PwC did this many years back. Uh, and the reason why PwC did this many years back was that this is not an agenda which is just something which is good to do. It's not something about like we do as corporate social responsibility, but this is the right thing to do. Diversity and inclusion is the right thing. We want to be really representing the community that we operate in. And if you have to operate in a country and be representative of the community, we have to make sure that we are including every aspect of the community within the organization. So I think just letting this and creating this change has not been easy. There has been the biggest resistance now and then has always been the mindset. And I think it's not because of people are not willing. I think everybody is very well intended, want to change. I think the biggest issue is that we are always in our comfort zone. And the resistance to change doesn't come easy. And I believe that since we are a multi-generational workforce, people in my generations have started to think, but maybe, and our younger lot don't even think that there is any difference between even, we are all buddies, we are all colleagues, and we are all friends. But I guess for certain people who have grown up in the ecosystem, seeing it in a particular way, for them the change is very different. And so there has been resistance to change, has always been the mindset. But I always also believe that if we did not, if we had a straight line in our ECG, things won't be good. I think we all want to make sure that we have a life which is with ups and downs, with people, and we have to respect perspectives, right? I also feel that a law plays a very important role in some agendas, right? So when you have policy makers and legal aspects of a country backing things up, and when you have the laws to do things, I think things happen quicker. I think there is a lot of buying in then because it's a legal ask. And one of the example that I can give you is that the Rights for Persons with Disability Act, when it was reinforced, it has just been reinforced right and recently in last few years. Now that reinforcement has forced every organization of a particular size to make sure that they have the right infrastructure. So they've conducted infrastructure audit, made sure they changed the policies, they made sure that the way the roles are written are being relooked, what they're positioning out themselves in terms of open positions. I think that's a great change. So some things get changed by ask and intent, but some things need to be changed by design. You need a law to kind of make sure that, okay, as we say, it's always a carrot and stick approach. So we need both aspects.
No, Shweta, I completely agree with you. And the point that you mentioned, that the biggest issue is to change the mindset. And I somewhere believe they have begun. And thanks to cinema, thanks to social groups, thanks to a lot of people like you coming out in open and talking about diversity and inclusion, things have been changing. Yes, it will take time, and you're right, that is something that we need to change by design. So before I let you go, I really would want to ask something. What advice would you give to other organizations that plan to make their workplaces inclusive for LGBTQ plus employees and who have not even started yet?
See, I think the very start point for anything is baby steps. I'm a very strong believer of that. Don't set up such high targets and to say that I will achieve this, and we fail, because that's kind of demotivates. I think a good start point for every organization who's thinking on embarking on this journey, the first and the foremost is making sure that there is leadership buying in, there is leadership tone and commitment to this. because it requires huge commitment. The second is that when I say this leadership commitment, it should not be on paper. It has to be that leaders speak about this in forum, they write about this, they make sure that they are amplifying voices of their own employees, so they give them that platform. Like I can tell you that we last year hosted where we, for the first time, we had a few of our open employees conduct a webinar for all PwC India employees. And post that, our chairman and COO met with those employees. That meeting was very warming actually. It was really heartwarming for our people to meet the chairperson and the COO of the organization and receive their sanction, right? To say that we are committed to you. We are committed to making you successful here. So you tell us. So I think that is very, very important. The second, I think, is that every organization should have a long-term journey plan. It is not a short-term agenda, and we should not be looking at short-term. I think a larger success comes when you have a long-term plan to what you need to do. But you need to have milestones. You need to know that what are the policies, how will you impact the ecosystem, and the ecosystem gets impacted by various ways. You need to make sure that all your policies are inclusive in every way, whether it is design, whether it's language, what are the efforts and that you are doing to make sure that you're making the right policies for your LGBTQ inclusion. If that means changing your insurance policies, do that. If that means changing your hiring plan, please change that. If you think that you need more vendors that can help you get more people from the LGBTQ community, get them on board. So I think it's about putting in the right policies with that target group in mind, yet considering language, communications, visibility. I believe that events and visibility makes a huge difference, because what you see is what you believe, right?
Yes.
So, and Pride Months, bringing leaders and sharing stories and hearing from other people's journey makes a huge difference. In PwC, we have invited several leaders from PwC network, from the LGBTQ community, and leaders who are at senior levels. We've had people come in from the community from within India, and they have shared. We've had people from the community who are working in various other corporates in India. So we have invited everybody, and the only idea is hear stories.
Yeah.
Because there is so much of learning that comes from sharing experiences. It's a huge network that you create. Ultimately, you find that the people, there is so relatability, right? And if that person can do it, why not I? So I think that's very important, that you get optics, make sure that there is visibility to the agenda, you get more leaders to share and have this thing. The other aspect is you need to make sure that you have a process in place where discrimination is handled in the most sternest way.
Yeah.
On one hand, you are ensuring open dialogue. At the other end of it, you want to make sure that any discrimination or any untoward actions are seen or taken in the most serious way, and the actions are taken in a way that there needs to be a process, I think, that needs to be put in place, which should be strong. Employee resource groups are great. I think they're a great start point, because hearing from the members of the community and for them to be a part of this action planning makes a huge difference, because they are the best people who can tell you that what will work, what will not. Use them to kind of elevate your agenda, use them to run the agenda for us. I think these are, if you kind of take some of these, and I think there could be more, but if you make sure that you have a right plan, a long term and a short term, and you have inputs of action plans with various defined, measurable targets and accountability framework, I think you will all be there. But yes, everybody needs to hold themselves as well accountable for the behaviors and for whatever we are doing. Because I believe that inclusion and diversity is, again, it's today not just, you just need to do it because it makes you look good. I think it is the right thing to do. You need to be representative of the communities that you operate in. And I believe that you can't leave today, in today's world where the business dynamics are so different, then every year the things are becoming more dynamic. You can't leave any aspect of talent untouched. So you need every talent to be working with you. And creating the right ecosystem is a bare minimum that we can do.
Thank you so much, Feda, for doing this for us. And you talked about, sharing stories will change the mindset. So I'm glad you shared your experience, and I hope your voice reaches out to, multiple organizations, and your voice leads the way to a better, inclusive workplace culture for LGBTQ plus employees. Thank you so much for doing this for Shine.
My pleasure, and I'm very happy to see that you are making sure that the voices are amplified, and I wish you good luck that we will be able to move forward on this agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.